Hi, guys. I'm honored to be with you. Welcome to 5 weeks of calls up until we do the biggest event we've ever done in our life, the Dolby Theatre, which is something we have been focusing on for a long time. Usually our events are a few months apart, and the last big EOL we did was in September. So for us to do the Dolby Theatre in June is a big deal because it's so far apart, and there have been so many changes that I've gone through and really been in and experienced. And there's so many new belief systems and things that I want to talk about, and teachings, and so many new ideas comedically, and so many new ways we're going to do this. And I can just say that this will be a crazy experience. It's going to be very different than the past EOLs, and I think better. And I'm so excited about it. And I'm, first of all, just so excited about that and honored that you're going to be a part of it. I can tell you that it's one of the biggest experiences of my life. I have a long backstory with like 10 years ago about as a comic. One day, a guy, I'm not kidding, that was coaching me in Chicago told me, "You're going to do the Kodak Theater, which is now the Dolby Theater." And I thought he was out of his mind. He was one of those guys that was like crazy and said, "You're going to do it tomorrow." And I was like, I'm not going to do that theater. And now I'm actually going to do it. And I like realized that the other day when I was talking to someone about it. But so here we are. We're going to be doing this theater. It's close to sold out. And I'm here with you guys now. And we just, for fun, totally for free, as just a little bonus thing, wanted to add these calls. We wanted to add calls. And the reason we want to add calls, many reasons, but one is because I really believe we can make a lot of change in our life, and I want to just not do this for 2 days and then have you leave. And I'd rather have you excited on the way up until it and talk about you doing different exercises and doing different things and really getting your heart prepared so that when we go there, we'll kind of be in a deeper space and ready to go. These calls aren't required. They're a fun, optional bonus thing. But I thought you guys could talk to each other. Even when I hop off, I see sometimes at the end, people still talk to each other. And it was exciting to me because, you know, they say it takes 21 days to really break a habit and create a new one. And I was just thinking, you know, right now we're about 30 days away. In fact, isn't today the 23rd? So it's literally a month from today. So it's 1 month from today. And we have this opportunity to look at ourselves and look at what we're doing and really not just think, I'm just going to go to this fun thing. It will be fun. It will be funny. It will be awesome. But it's also just an opportunity for us to go, I'm going to actually make sure I change my life. I want to change whatever it is, my health, my relationships, my body, just my spirituality, just release complaining, just play more, just be free. Because, you know, if you're someone who comes to these things, if you're someone who is wanting to come to this, I want to just first reflect to you how special you are, because we live in a world of people that really want you to be convinced that the way to live in this world is to stress, to gossip, to complain about different things, to be all caught up in what's going on outside of us, but still in this physical world, and ignore our calling, our passion, what we are, the part of us that wants to change the world, the part of us that wants to change our life, the part of us that every once in a while shows up and goes, why am I on this planet? And these little feelings show up and go, it doesn't make sense that I'm so stressed about that X. And it doesn't make sense that I'm so always mad. That doesn't feel like I'm living in my highest me. Like there's more. And, you know, time is something we don't have an unlimited amount of. And we spend so much of our time just doing nothing, you know, stressing about stuff. People stress about things they can't control. People stress about what people think about them. It's nuts, and there's no reason for it. And why are we doing that? And when I think about that, I think it's because we're bored, and we're bored because we're not living to our highest power. And, you know, if you are someone who's in 10th grade, but you're taking a 5th grade class, you're going to be bored because you're worth more than that. And you're going to get bored, and you're going to get sabotagey, and you're going to get addicted, and you're going to get in habits because you're not living on your edge. So these calls are about us just talking about our truth and living on our edge and seeing what wants to unfold. You know, I kind of get excited about what wants to unfold through us, not necessarily me knowing everything I'm going to say, but just going, something really exciting is trying to unfold. Even if you feel stressed, something's trying to unfold, you know, even if you're feeling totally off, even if you're feeling it's not working, that's something trying to unfold. You might be feeling totally sad or totally stressed out of your mind, or like something's not aligning. Maybe you feel really, you know, stuck in your head. That's something trying to happen. And we're here to feel that and love it and stay with it and not distract ourselves from it. You know, you can feel stressed, and then immediately when you're feeling stressed, like go, forget it, I'm going to go on Facebook. And the stress is like trying to leave you. This is something I've been experiencing this week, that some stuff was coming up and I, you know, just stayed with it. And a lot of times things come up and you think, I better fix that thing because I don't want to feel this pain anymore. Like you could really miss an ex, right? You could really be thinking, I really miss this ex, this pain's coming up. So the fix to that is to call the ex. No, that's not true. That's fixing the circumstance so you don't feel pain anymore. But what it's trying to show you is there's a void in you, right? Exactly. As Kelly Lightworker said, which is a great name, or chocolate cake, right? You're feeling off. So you're going, I need an addiction. I need to go get food. I need to feel that same connection. I need to go to that restaurant I went to with my mom when I was a kid, right? I need to go to this thing and do this thing. We look for connection in the way that we felt it when we were a kid. So I need to find someone who treats me the way my dad did. I need to go do something that I need to go watch TV because when I was a kid, I watched TV with my parents, whatever it is. And we're being the little story of us. And what we don't know is you might be 48 hours from an entirely different life if you just keep feeling that. If you allow yourself to just be in that pain and in that craziness and feel it's going, I got to say something, I got to do something, I got to fix this, I got to whatever. Oh, if you just allow yourself to be the space, that thing will come off. It always does. You will wake up in a couple days and you'll feel good. And to the ego, a couple days feels like an eternity, but it's not. And imagine if you're just a few days away from you. And then you start to notice, oh my goodness, I was suffering and it's 3 days later and I'm fine now. And I'm still alive. I'm still and then all of a sudden when you have emotions later, you go, oh, okay, just be with it. Versus the old way you dealt with emotions, which can be like, I got to go get this addiction. I got to go get a bunch of lattes. I got to go do addictive things because I'm just so scared of this thing. And I think that I'm going to not be enough. So that's trying to unfold. Everything's trying to unfold. So if you're here, that means you know about this somewhat. That means there's something in your body that says, it's not just what my head says is true. The thoughts that say it's over there, the world that tells me things is not true, that life is about just achieve this, and then retire, and then achieve death, like achieve later. Right? That's what life tells you. Achieve this till later. Get ready for junior high so you can get ready for high school, so you can get ready for college, so you can get ready for working, so you can get ready for your retirement. It's all later. And you have something in you, if you're on these calls, if you're coming to the Dolby Theatre, and if you already feel good from that, wait till you immerse yourself for 2 days. And you're suddenly with a group of people that spent 5 weeks doing other work with you. This is going to be a completely different event than any of our Evolving Out Louds. Because the old Evolving Out Louds, which were my favorite thing we ever did, were nothing compared to this because we're doing 5 weeks of preparation and I get to reconnect with you each week. And you might feel off for a second or whatever, and we get to reconnect and you go, oh, I'm totally on. And even when you feel off, you're still on. And we're going to feel excited and good and be thankful and just be excited to go, wow, for the next 5 weeks and then for 2 full days, I'm going to have days well lived. Like, think of how many days we don't make well lived. You know, we just kind of keep doing the same habit and the same social media and the same addictions and whatever. And 300 or 3,400 of your closest friends, not only that, but people that will support you in your calling, you know, people that will support the feeling, because these people are also feeling it. So most of us have a feeling in our body, and it's this thing, and you go, what if I do that? And then you check in with people often that support you in your smallness, because most people in this world haven't listened to their heart. Most people in this world just feel that the way life works is the high school to the college, the thing, and that's great. But when you check in with them, they think from a practical way, and that's great if that's what they want, and none of me is saying they shouldn't. But if you're on this call, that means you have a calling in you. That means something in you is saying the way that it's presenting itself isn't right. So often we check in with people who really look like they have their stuff together, and you go, what do you think, mom and dad? And they aren't feeling that feeling in your body, right? You have this feeling showing up. What do I do? And they're like, they aren't feeling that feeling. So they're not even taking that into consideration. You're like, I feel like flying to another country tomorrow. I feel like just going to France right now. What do you think? Mom and dad who grew up in the Great Depression and live in a survival state. What do you think, friend of mine who is not living at your highest? Do you think I should do this thing that you will realize will make you realize you've been doing it wrong? So you need to feel good about what you've done with your life. So the last thing you want to do is advise me to do anything different. So here you are, and you have these kind of things and these callings. And as a side note on that, I'll never forget the day when I was driving in my car. I'm so excited to be with you guys. I'm feeling so good and so excited and ready to go do this event with you guys and to be on these calls with you and connect here. But I was on a drive. I went to a restaurant in Valencia once with my friend Diego, and we just said out of nowhere, do you want to go to Seattle? And Seattle's 1,200 miles away, and we were in California, and I said, I mean, like right now, no suitcase or anything, like, do you want to just go? And we were like, yeah, that's exactly right. Diego plus Kyle's Callego, because he was in the car with me and we started doing it together. So I said, do you want to go to Seattle? And we didn't have a suitcase packed or anything. And he goes, yeah. And we just drove, and we stopped at one hotel, and then we kept driving. We get to the next morning, and we're about 40 minutes from Seattle, you know, or that we drove one full day, and then we stayed in the hotel. We get really close to Seattle. So whatever it was the next morning, we might have stayed 2 nights in hotels, but I'll never forget, I'm from getting to my mom's house, and my mom calls me out of the blue, and she's crying. And I go, what's wrong, Mom? And she says, my dog just died. Our dog Blaze died. And I was like, oh, and I stayed on the phone with her for like 30 minutes, right? And she doesn't know where I am. She's just telling me this, and she's crying. And I get off the phone with her, and I'm 10 minutes away from her house. So I grab flowers and I knock on her door. And she's just shocked. And I just go, I have flowers for you. I didn't say I have flowers. She saw them. I just gave them to her. I said, I'm sorry about your dog. And my mom cried and cried and was shocked and like, how are you here? Like she couldn't understand it. And my body just said, let's go to Seattle. And it happened to be so magical that I was able to comfort my mom and be with her at the most, vulnerable time. And by the way, if it's freezing, refresh it. That's all you got to do. Because if it's freezing, it's that thing. So my mom, was shocked, and the timing of it was synchronistic. And when we listen to those feelings and those callings, you just start to make things work differently, because we're usually in our head trying to find the fix to what we think is a problem, right? So we think we have a problem to fix. So if I'm like, I got to get this pen to work, and I'm only staring at it, this is the thing. It's later. I got this, and this could be anything, right? You have a date later. This could be you need to get that X back. This could be, I'm trying to do good for this job interview later. This could be anything. And you're in your head trying to get it perfect. And you're sitting here staring at it, and you don't even notice like kombuchas are over here and green juices. You're just staring at the pen. And when we're in our head, we don't notice all the amazing synchronistic things that are also trying to happen. So most people's questions often start from, how do I get this person to like me? Or how do I nail this job? But what you don't see is the ultimate you will be able to do things that are so much bigger and might even make a better aligned person or a better job or a better career or your calling. So that's something to look at, is that we're so in our head. And I now know if I'm in my head about anything specific, I'm out of alignment. And my job is to love the part of me that thinks it has a problem to fix so that I'll get love. Usually when you're trying to do something, it's to get love. You want someone's approval. You want to fix something. You want to get what you think is love through money, or whatever. It's all control, whatever it is, you know? So when you're in your body, you suddenly realize way better things come to you. And when your mind goes, nah, that's right now, your mind will show up and go, that's not true. Your mind is using evidence based on what it's seen so far. And if you move into your body, your mind will be horrified, because this is death to what you perceive you are based on your old story. So you perceive that who you are is that person that got love for this thing. You perceive that who you are is someone who has to make this perfect. And there's so many more things in life. And there's so many moments where we just feel this little thing that says, let's do it. Where we feel this part of our body that says, let go of that. You don't have to do that. And you go, why am I holding this? Because I want to get love for this, or because I don't want to be abandoned. In fact, I was realizing with working a lot of people lately that many of us do things out of a fear of the opposite happening. Meaning, like, you're building a business not because it's your passion, but because you have a fear of being broke, or people not liking you, or you not getting enough followers. So you're ambitiously marketing your business and you're trying as hard as you can because you have a fear of the opposite happening. Or you might be in a relationship, maybe because it's your passion, but sometimes people have a relationship because they have a fear of being alone, right? And I'll never forget a big shifting day for Christy and I when I just said, why don't we had an argument. And I said, I think we're arguing because we're attached and we're scared of breaking up. And I said, what if we just make the option of breaking up available so we can see it? And it took that stress off, because we didn't realize unconsciously we were holding on to a fear of being alone or of being single. We're holding on to a fear of that. So the more that you're okay with being alone, the better you'll be set up for a relationship, because you'll also find someone who is okay with being alone. Or you'll allow the partner that you're currently with to be a space to be okay with being alone, right? So if you want to be rich, you need to be okay with being broke. It's almost the opposite of The Secret in some ways, but the area that you're scared of being broke is only inside your head. Think about that. If you're scared of being broke and you picture yourself, in $1 million debt, for instance, that's in your head. So it's not even being broke you're scared of, it's your thought. You're just having a thought, right? So if you have a thought and then you're running from it, if you're sitting here going, whatever, what your dad will say, and you're going, ugh, you're not scared of your dad, you're scared of yourself. Because there's a dad out here and there's a dad in here, right? There's a Donald Trump out there and there's a Donald Trump in here. There's your spouse out there and a spouse in here. So when you're thinking, what will my spouse say? You actually create a spouse in here that will say it. Then you actually start figuring out how to manipulate that spouse in here, and then you go do it for real out here. But if you understand that you're running from your own thought has a problem and you're scared of it. You're sitting here going, oh, what if this politician does it? And you're running from you. So you're scared of you. Yes, there's money in your head and there's money out there. In other words, there's a meaning of $1 million in here. If I say $10 million, some people will get excited, some people will run. But what if you just feel that's normal? That's no different. Then you're becoming whole, right? What if I say $1 million debt or $10 million in the positive? Immediately, you're going to feel an emotion. And if you do, that means in that moment, money is a bigger thing to you than you are. So it's going to own you. So you're going to be a slave to it. So you need to get to a place where you love you more than the thing that you're worshiping or scared of or loving. And you do that by realizing it's not the thing, it's your thought. So when a thought comes up, like Mira just said, yes, large money scares me. I want to feel really comfortable to it and allow it to come and go. Awesome. So is it large money that scares you, Mira, or is it your thought of large money? Like, really take in for a second. Everyone watching this, let's do an exercise for fun real quick. So if you all close your eyes, I'm just going to say a few different people and a few different concepts, a few different things. Okay? So everyone close your eyes for a second and I'll just say some stuff. This is kind of fun. So if I say Donald Trump, notice that your body, good or bad, will have a reaction. Okay? So let yourself feel that, because it's funny, because the Donald Trump that you're thinking of is in here, right? So some people say vomit. Some people I know feel excited. Some people whatever. If I say Obama, right? Sort of gassy. I don't care. I'm Canadian, right? So, okay. So not scared of being broke. So Obama, gassy in a good way. Oh, I feel like farting. Okay. So how about if I say your mother? Notice that just an emotional thing comes up, right? An emotional feeling comes up if I say your mother, right? Guilty comes up. Interesting, right? So you're having a thought and, right, you're having a feeling. So everyone has a different reaction to each person, right? Which means it has nothing to do with the person outside. It has to do with you inside. If I say your most recent ex, right? What do you feel when I say your most recent ex? What emotions come up? Ugh, okay. Unattached, nothing. Scared. Awesome. Awesome. So notice where you're feeling the reaction, right? I say your ex and you feel a thing, right? So are they doing anything right now? Are they even in the room? Are they even here? Or are you literally sitting here and thinking of them and going, isn't that crazy? It's weird how we do that. Trump. I mean, to you, if I say $20 million is being handed to you tomorrow, what do you think? That's an interesting thing, because sometimes people go, what do they want from me? Sometimes people say, I don't believe you, right? So if you don't believe me, if I say I got $20 million for you tomorrow and you go, I don't believe you, what do you think that feels like energetically? You're going to actually sabotage it to match, because your ego doesn't ever want to be wrong. So often people are going to go, yeah, right. What's the catch? Now, imagine being the person trying to give you $10 million, right? That's really fascinating, because there's a story there that you might not being willing to receive. I don't believe they have to prove it to you, right? They have to prove it to you. They're trying to give you something and now you're making them prove it, right? Because what you're saying is you are not worthy of that. You are not worthy of this, because your story is you are smaller than that. You are not willing to receive that. This last year, so many incredible things have happened for me. I have a few announcements coming up, actually. In fact, right now, I'll tell you them now. One is I have a book coming with Hay House. I'm now a Hay House publisher, which I'm honored about. And it's going to be coming out this next year. It'll be September 2019. And I am doing also, the week before the Dolby, a PBS special that we're taping in Santa Fe. Life is getting so good. And I have to tell you, when I'm getting these things, I really have to get to a place where it's normal for it to happen, right? It gets exciting, but if it's like, what do they want from me? If PBS said, we'd like to give you a special, I said, what do you want from me? What's the real catch? Aren't I unconsciously telling them that don't use me? Aren't I unconsciously saying to them, like, you're better than me? If someone really amazing said, I'm in love with you, you'd be like, why are you in love with me? They would find out just from that moment, maybe they shouldn't be, right? So we need to get to a place where we're not scared of our thoughts, because it's your thoughts. It's your thoughts that's scaring you. And we are in a world that has trained us to get in our thoughts so that we feel that we're not enough, so that we don't feel that we can receive, have, create, give, and make massive impact on the world. And that way they can sell us stuff that we don't need. You have to be small in your mind to think that you need things that you don't actually need. And they convince you that this can of Pepsi will make you something. You'll be popular, or this car will help you get love, or this Louis Vuitton bag, or this thing. But you have to first think you're not enough. And if you allow yourself to take all these thoughts now, and we just allow ourselves to have like even a minute of paying attention, this is something that scares people to do, but I want to just encourage it. I'd love to just do a couple minutes of exercise with you. And then I'm going to answer questions that you guys have on the Ask a Question section. But remember that there's something beating your heart. And we've done a couple of these exercises at past EOLs, but we're going to do a couple of them at this one too. But we're going to do so much work at the EOL that's going to actually transform you. And the reason is, when you do this work, you will actually not just intellectually know. You know how all the stuff I'm saying, you can see it intellectually, but it's still scary? Like, there's stuff I'm saying, and you might feel intellectually, of course that's true. Of course I'm worthy of $10 million. Of course I'm worthy of the best relationship. Of course I could just go to France tomorrow. But it's scary, right? Why is that? How do you know that it's fine here, but it's scary here, right? The reason is, for some people, Bert says nope, but everyone else is like, got it. So if it is for some people, that's because your nervous system has not caught up with what you know intellectually. And when we do different exercises, and that's why I want to do this 5 weeks early with you guys, I want to get your nervous system acclimated to what you know intellectually, so that it's what you are. So that it's what you are. And the reason I want to do this, one of many reasons, but one really big, new, underlying driving reason, is because I have a daughter, and she's 10 months old. And I've learned that the only way I can change the world is by changing myself. And if you guys change yourself, I believe just one of you shifting yourself into the deepest you can outbalance all of the rest of the world. I really do. And I'm seeing that. And the more I believe that, I can feel the ego goes, that's crazy. The ego goes, that's crazy. And when we honor that it's crazy, we move less amazing. And by the way, what if I'm wrong, but still move like that's true? Do you hear that? What if I'm wrong, but still move like that's true? At least I lived my life fully, right? We're so much more excited about proving ourselves that we're wrong than just being willing to be wrong and going all in. Just move like it's true. And worst case scenario, I'll get to whatever, 150 years old. I got plans. I'll get to this place and we'll have done a lot of impact on the world. And I will have worked with so many of you that will have done a lot of your version of the impact on the world. And it will be better for her. And that's awesome. But if I move like, I know I can't change the whole world, I won't do as well. But if I'm like, I know for a fact I got this. Do you feel the difference? Do you feel the power in that? I'll be willing to be wrong, right? I'm going to be willing to be wrong and go. What if we just keep moving forward and be willing to be wrong? Your calling says this. I want to go to France tomorrow. Yeah, but I'll be broke. Maybe I will. I'll be willing to be broke. Maybe I need to experience being broke so that I can be rich. Maybe that's part of the plan. Maybe I'm supposed to be better at this, right? So allow you to meet this part of you, this power in you, because we spend all day connected to the physical, societal, crazy, judgmental world that convinces you that you owe people and people owe you, and you got to control people and they got to control you, and you always got to do things and get approval from other people, and who you are is what you achieve. Screw that. The end of that. Let's go forward and have an amazing life. And let's spend 5 weeks being in the practice. You know, I've lost a lot of weight. And I just said in today's video, I lost a lot of weight. And I'm down about 50 pounds maybe since a year ago, something like that. And I can bench more and all this stuff. We usually say these as jokes, Kyle's muscles and stuff. Now, actually, I'm like, no, it's really exciting. Yeah, I weigh 170 now. I was 237 at the end of October 2016. I was 237. I weigh 169 today, I think. But I feel good. I have a personal trainer, but I couldn't do it in, 2 days. But I did a lot in 5 weeks. And there's a tipping point where it became easy and it became exciting. And not only can we do that for our body, but we can do that for ourselves and our consciousness and our shifting. And I just got excited about the 5 weeks of calls for us to start doing this together. So I want to offer you guys the willingness and the excitement for you to get on the emotional treadmill so that your nervous system can acclimate to what you know intellectually. So, and the consistency is my challenge. That's why I'm here. That's why we're here, because consistency is big. And one thing I said in today's video is getting excited about the long run. Because in the long run, if you just focus on the long term and stay with it, you'll let go of things that are short term. And sometimes we hold on to toxic people because we're in the short term. Sometimes we hold on to addictions and bad habits and stuff because we're in the short term. But when you go, what do I want? And you just stay glued to that long-term thing, that your health, your workout every day, everything changing, you go, this is me. Then all of a sudden you feel some pain as you let go of the story of you that has these old habits, these old addictions, and the part of you that got love through those addictions is going to fall off. So you're going to have this night where you are so sad and swear you're making a huge mistake. And then you won't eat that over thing, or you won't do that addictive thing, or you won't get drunk, or you won't whatever. And you're going to wake up the next morning more in your power because that old you will have fallen off, right? And then you'll see new things. You'll actually understand different things. And these emotions that are coming up, this is kind of my theme this week. These emotions that are coming up are trying to leave. And all you got to do is let them. Let them. They'll never stay if you just let them. Let them be felt. They're trying to teach you something. There's a lesson under that. There's a lesson under that you need to get. That, oh, that's a thing I learned with my mom or whatever. So ego is going to hate this for a minute, but I want to do an exercise with you. And just connect with you, and that we all connect to this thing that's beating our heart, because that is this place that we actually can connect to replace the connection to Facebook and CNN and the wedding. That's great that the prince got married. I'm excited about that. Happy for you. Great. I also have a life too, and you have a life. And I really believe that what the world is a lot of people who aren't aware of their amazing abilities, worshiping people who are aware. That's kind of what our world is, right? People who aren't aware of their amazing abilities, worshiping people who are. Now, I have this thing that a lot of people hate, and it's just my belief, but I believe that what makes people amazing, the Einsteins and the Brian Wilsons of the world. Brian Wilson's my favorite musician. He wrote all the Beach Boy hits, but he's the, Wouldn't It Be Nice and Good Vibrations. And that's my favorite musician. And all the Michael Jacksons and the Elvises of the world and the Oprahs of the world. I have this weird belief that actually triggers people, but take it on, because if you hear it and you allow yourself to accept it, it's me saying even better for you. I believe everyone is capable of that level of greatness. I believe there's your version of a Mother Teresa in you, or your version of a John Lennon, or whoever yours is. Every person has it. And when I work with people enough, we find it. I find it when I work with them enough, and I find their brilliance with them. And that happens every time, unless they're dying to stay their old story. And that's what triggers people, because what I'm saying is against society's way of thinking. This is universal way of thinking. And I'll hold this space for you until you grab onto it. I know it's a fact. I'll prove it to you. And when you go, nah, not me, that's your mind. Your mind is triggered. So stay in the body and just receive it, because there's an amazing life, and you'll feel pain too, because it's like, no, I got love for being small. And I'm like, stay here. And your mind goes, no, I got love for being small. Don't do this to me. And I'm like, you're brilliant. You're a Jim Carrey or whoever you want to be. You are that. And maybe doing karaoke once is the first step, Lisa. So that's awesome. So step into that. So how do I get into that? Well, one thing you can do is the next thing that life wants you to do. In other words, instead of looking at everything you need to do for the next year, what's one thing you need to do? Like, it could be literally empty the attic. It could be, think about it. It could be let go of that thing that doesn't align. It could be make that trip. Why don't you guys write what your next step today is? Where do you feel clogged? What's the next thing to do? Is it meditate? Get rid of my expensive car that serves no purpose. Maybe it served purpose for your habit, but not your soul, right? Maybe the habit goes, I get love for this car. Edit my book. Mira says, edit my book. Total surrender from the lovely Jody Evans. Sleep tonight. Maybe go to bed earlier. Go for a run. Meditate. Clean out the spare room. Let go of my books. That's an amazing one. It's interesting you say that. I'll talk about that in a second. Get a paddleboard. Finish my biology chapter. Have a husband and I join you at Rhythmia in October. Well, that's not going to work because I'm not doing Rhythmia in October. But you can come to our meditation retreat. That's in September. We have a 6-day meditation retreat at Asilomar. So I'm going to be doing that. And I can tell you that you'll get a lot more of me there than you would have at Rhythmia. Rhythmia was moving me to just the speaker does a 2-hour talk. So we changed it. It's awesome. I love Rhythmia. For me, I want to be working in the long term with my people. So the dates for meditation retreat, as a side note, are what? September, I think 4th through the 9th. Just go meditation retreat. Oh, there it is. Kara just put the link up. So if you like this talk and we're 38 minutes in, let's have 6 days together. And so that you could get the hotel and all that, made our price crazy cheaper. So that's just a side thought. But September 4th through 9th. So to give me some more, I want to hear more about what you guys are doing. I want to go to the meditation retreat. So what's your next step? Awesome. Yeah, grab the meditation retreat. That's awesome. Interview me, Lisa says. Awesome. Well, write us at info@kylecease.com, and that's awesome. Kirsten says, being with my emotions. So Kirsten, what if you just schedule an hour, to just get away and sit in a chair quietly outside or something and not be interrupted? Meditate for 2 hours, start a video series, go to the farmer's market. Beautiful. Sign up for yoga teacher training this fall. So you guys, these things that you're coming up with, let's do them today, like in the next 24 hours. Like, I want you to be in the practice. My offer to you, I always want you to be, but I always am just offering. Take whatever you want from this. We're here to co-create. There's going to have to be some things I say you don't agree with, and don't use that to bail. Like, stay in it, right? Take what you can from this. Love what you want from it. You don't have to agree with everything. There's no way we could talk this much and we not disagree on some things. And that's fine. But don't throw out everything, because there's so much stuff in it. So that's a side thought there. Get on stage this time. I'll play the piano. So accept the help that's coming to me. That's a great one, Mike, because some people have a hard time accepting help. And some people have a hard time stepping forward and doing something alone. So it could be doing something different, right? So if you have a hard time asking for help, you're cutting other people off from the opportunity to give to you. So that's huge. And you also are in the belief that you're doing something alone when you're wearing clothes that someone else made in the whole time. Let's see. I'll be on stage with you in June, manifesting again. Oh, yeah? Awesome. Well, if it happens, it'll happen. I'll tell you guys the story. A couple people said, be on stage with me in June. I have to move from flow. This is very important. I can't pre-plan anything because life has better plans for me than I understand. So nothing's planned. There's a little bit of structure in the time, and we have some amazing stuff coming for you. But just so you know, with this event at the Dolby, I'm going to tell you guys something really exciting. I'm excited about this. It's going to be almost all me and you. There's hardly any videos. There's a little bit, but hardly any videos. And I'm building this thing to be just connected with you so much more, so that in the time we have, there's almost 98% of the time will be me with you. So I just kind of want to do like a Kyle Cease Unplugged kind of thing, where we can get more together, do more work, so that we can really get a concentrated, bigger amount of time together. I'm excited about that. So that's something that is new for me. That's kind of my edge. So give me a couple more and then let's talk about that stuff. So what else are you guys doing next? So what you're doing next, this is the meditation, this is writing the book, sell my car. Oh, now Amy said, sell my car. That's a good tangible thing. Before, like when we get off this call in an hour, whatever it is, and not an hour, when we get off this call, when it's done at a top of an hour, do it. Like, this is what I want you to do. I want you to consider actually taking that thing that says to do the next thing and actually do it. So some people have an actual one-step thing, like put the car for sale. The second you do that, you're in the energy of the person that's letting go of the old thing. Now ask yourself how many things and people and things you have in your life, are these things and things you're doing in your life, are they supporting the small you and your old habit, or the big you and your new habit, right? There are people you could go on a date with who feel really, really good, but it could be because they feel like your old story, right? So they could feel addictive. They're the ones that feel like they're, you know, that story when you were a kid and you feel this familiarity. And that's great, but there's also people that could call to your soul. And you go, this person, yeah, there's familiarity or sometimes, but I can feel that I grow with this person. I can feel I'd be better. This person wants me to be better. This person's taking me to a higher place. Now, there's about 6 people on the planet that'll do that, but there's also everyone coming to EOL. And there's people that'll expand you. So ask yourself, are the people in your life, the things in your life that you're doing, look at the house, look around the house. Does this thing support my highest me or my old story? Does this support an expanded me that I've never experienced being before, but would put me in my body more? Or does this support my old me and I can feel habit and addiction? Addiction does things that keep the small story alive. Right? That's what addiction is in a way. It's something that keeps your small story alive. I got love for this at one time. I felt connected to this at one time. And now I'm trying to feel that feeling again. So I'm going to this, but it wasn't this that made you feel that way. It was that you were in hell before and now you're in alignment, you think. So you think it's this thing, or you were in a thing that thing expanded you. You go on a first date with someone and you feel so much love for them, right? So you fall in love and then you think it's the person. It isn't. It's not the person. It's that you grew and you expanded and you got stronger. And then you think it's the person. So you're trying to feel that feeling, but it was that you were with a person that aligned you in a new way or whatever. So remember that we can falsely associate that it's the person or the thing, and that's what makes them an addiction. And then later you keep going after it and it doesn't feel the exact same. But your mind has tricked you into thinking that's your source of happiness. But there's really a flow in your body that's right here. So take all those thoughts and all these things I've said and let's process for a couple minutes. So there's a thing beating your heart. And everybody take a deep breath. And I want you to think about all the things you want to do. And I want you to also think about things that freak you out. And notice that you feel that in your head. And I want to give you the opportunity to be in the practice for the next 5 weeks, to be in the practice to feel the thing that's beating your heart. So there's a thing beating your heart, and it doesn't care about your story. It doesn't care about what someone said about you. It doesn't care about what you feel guilty about. It doesn't care about what you think you should be. It doesn't care about how much money you make. It's just right here. So I want to, with you guys, offer the opportunity to feel that space together for a couple minutes, and everyone on this call does it so that we all connect to this place. And tell it about the things you're worried about, things that scare you, things that you realize you don't think you're enough because of that, things that you're not sure about. And I'm going to take a couple minutes with you to just pay attention to what it says. So say inside, tell it what you're scared of, and then listen to its reaction. And even if you have insecure thoughts in this, like, I don't know if I'm doing this right. Like, I don't know if this is a good thing. Whatever comes up, tell your heart that too. All right. We moved to a very small place in the woods now, and you might have been able to hear frogs outside. You might not have too, but it's amazing to just notice that that's going on. So I'd love to hear from you guys a couple things that was just 2 minutes. What did your heart say about the thing you've been feeling conflicted about? Your heart said worry? Said you're fine. Heart said thank you. I'm here no matter what. Oh, that again. Fun is my one thing. I can't manifest my desires or my clients' desires. You're smart enough. You are abundantly provided for. They're kind of flying by, so I hear you. That's not my responsibility. It's all nonsense. Feel it so you can let go. I'm hanging on to things for the wrong reason. My heart said you're already proving your mind is wrong. Wow. You guys, if you listen to this, for the next 5 weeks, everything in your life will change. So I want to offer you guys the opportunity to do this every morning. And just do it if you want. You don't have to. It's not like a prerequisite. But I also want to offer you to grab the reins of your own life too and do that. Feel your heart and talk to it every day. I do 2 hours a day. 2 hours a day. Everything's different. Everything. All the outside is different. My confidence, my body, my relationships, everything's different. And you don't have to, but we spend like 6 hours a day on so many things we don't want to be on. Netflix and whatever. Do that stuff every once in a while, but make you first. And if this group decides starting today to set a time every morning when they wake up, you pee, you meditate. Rise, pee, meditate. RPM, as my friend David G calls it. And you give yourself an hour of committing so that you actually transform every day. The experience at the theater is going to be even better. If you don't do it, it's still going to be awesome. But boy, are you going to be in your alignment. And we are going to move so fast. David J.I. is how you spell it. So that's an opportunity. I'm just curious if anybody's interested in committing for the next 5 weeks to actually doing this, actually working out your emotions, because you just did 2 minutes. And if you do it, you will actually change the entire direction of your life and be stressing less and save money on a lot of addictions. So you don't have to do this, as I said. I'm fine if you don't. But I want to offer you a different life available in just connecting. So just meditating and connecting to the thing beating your heart. And yes, asking your heart what it wants, because listening to it, right? Asking your heart what it wants. What does your heart want? What does it want? Why are we so busy telling it what we want? Is that even you? What does it want from you? Picture an apple tree not figuring out what life wants from it. Like it's in this ego thing. Like I want a Mercedes. You're an apple tree. Sit back and do the thing. I really want a Mercedes. I want Heidi Klum to marry me. You're an apple tree. Get out of the way and let things happen, right? And allow yourself to listen to what life wants from you. What does life want from you? What's the next thing that you need for your journey, right? So who's in to commit to this for every morning for however long? You say how long, 10 minutes even, 20 minutes. I find that all my power shows up 46 minutes in. So, but whatever you do is awesome. Even 30 minutes is going to be a very different life. So look at this. Dude, you realize if one of you can change the entire world, and I'm getting all of these ins, you are going to make my daughter and many daughters and sons all over the world very safe. You are creating a new alignment. You are letting life come through you versus responding to life like a crazy person and connecting to this thing beating your heart. So Amy's in, Michelle's in, Christy's in, Kelly's in, Leanne, John, Arlene is in for 1 hour a day. Christy's all in, getting up an hour earlier. William, doing it for my niece and nephew. Hell yeah. Carolyn says, I'm in. Josh Black says, I'm in. Gwen says, I have 17 grandbabies and I want to be a great role model for them. Right. Don't use the kids as the reason you can't do it. We got to change the world for these kids. We're handing them a crazy world, but it's really that people aren't connected consciously to their heart. And the biggest asset you have, bigger than money, is consciousness. Jody Evans is all in. Tammy Wood, Susie, Christy. Even if you did it somewhat before, let's recommit. And I'll be here to cheer you on and remind you every week until the Dolby. And then you'll be immersed for 2 days with this beautiful group of people that are committed. Look at all these commitments, and we'll be so centered, and you'll have so many people around you at the Dolby that will have done this work, that will respond to you from their truth, and you will find better people to fall in love with if you're single. Because look at all these people. Who here is single on this and wants to meet a conscious person? Like, awesome if you want to. But if you're single and you want to meet a conscious person, awesome. And if you're in an amazing relationship, awesome. Come join us and bring and take that relationship to the next level. I can't wait to see you guys there. So let's see if I can get a couple questions in really quickly. Yeah, Grimstall's the word, right? If you say Grimstall, that I just made up on the spot the limitation game, which now thousands of people are saying. And there's people falling in love with each other too. I know of many couples that have met at Evolving Out Loud. And so I'm really excited about that. Single and pretty awesome. So how would you like to be connected via you bring your heart? That's your soulmate. This is who you marry. And then you hang out with someone who knows their heart, right? That's an amazing alignment, because that person will take you farther than you can see. You want to be able to a place where you love yourself, but you have someone that can even see more of you. They go, I'm going to take you even farther. You're even better than that. I'm going to call you on that, right? I'm going to say you're even better than that. Not egoically, not to become the coach and look at me coaching, but just totally to be like, I love you in your power. I love you in your strength. I'm not threatened by that. I don't need you to be small so I don't feel insecure about myself. It's amazing. So you're here to expand you and expand your life. And even if it's not a relationship, it could be a business relationship. It can be friendship. We got to find some people at EOL. Amazing friendships are made, just people that you can Skype with and do exercises with and connect with and be reminded of this thing in your heart in a world that's showing you the opposite of it, right? So let's do that too. So that's another reason for Dolby, to just find people. There's a huge community. We have the EOL Facebook community, and we have this amazing community of people there. And you guys get to meet each other and do work off each other and have these days well lived. That's what we want. Be expanded, be called in your greatness, be seen, be loved in you, right? So let's see if I can get a couple questions. And I actually started just answering the questions on the other place. How do I get this to open? There it is. Oh my goodness, this is a long question from Joanne Rainey Wilmeth. She says, I'm currently in a branding course for my new life coaching business. Okay, I've recently heard you talk about how ridiculous stupid it is to do things like how to eat corn in 7 days. Yes, I think you should be able to eat it quicker than that. To get someone to give me their email addresses, which is exactly what this program is teaching. So first of all, let me explain that. I believe that there's a lot of things out there that teach you how-to things, which is nice when you need it. I'm not knocking that. So if you need to know how to strategize, that's great. But here's the thing. When you need something, you'll search it, right? Whether it's internal or external. And I really believe that we get bombarded with all this how-to, and a lot of how-to is strategy to manipulate, which you only do because you're not in love with what you're doing professionally. So if you're trying to manipulate people or strategize or say things like, I only have 10 left when you actually have a bunch, like when I talk about the meditation retreat, we actually are almost sold out. I'm not doing that as a manipulative tactic. I'm giving you information, right? But there's people that teach you manipulative tricks. And when they say that, that's a lot of the how-to stuff, right? And saying stuff like, I'm going to do this, give me your email address to get this, is actually not you giving a gift. Like, we actually offer gifts or make the limitation game really, really cheap because we want to change the world. And a byproduct of that is we do get email addresses, but I don't care about that. I care about giving my gift because I love what I have to offer. And if you're in a place where you're strategizing and manipulating, that means you don't love what you're doing. That means you don't believe in yourself. That means you don't know that you're awesome. And that means you're giving your gift from a place of fear, and you're strategizing because you don't believe that you're enough. And it's not sustainable, right? So when people say how to, I've worked with so many people that live in this how-to thing, and there are a bunch of strategies that are totally ignoring their heart. And weirdly, your heart is a why. And when you're in a why, nothing will stop you. right? You'll figure out what you need to know exactly when you need it. But if you just go to a bunch of seminars that say how to do this, how to do this, how to do this, how to do this, then you leave totally in your head, because how is in your head. And you need to find that your heart expands you. And I was doing a flow group, which is our intimate 3 days when I work with 4 people. And when I work with people, there was someone that was at our event named Amy, and she was full of strategies, and she was addicted to going to these strategies. And I asked her, I said, when you think of those things that you think you have to go to, how do you feel? And she felt heavy. And I said, what do you think of like Brene Brown? And she said, I feel my soul. And I go, what if you only listen to that level and up? The only thing, if you're going to listen to things, is, in my opinion, something that'll put you in your body, in your heart, because your heart knows how to do everything. It does. I don't know anything about how to strategize and market. I just make videos and put them out. And Steve Martin said something that I'll never forget that put me in my body. Steve Martin said, just become so good that they can't ignore you. So that's why I like to work on me, work on you, right? You have, I swear to God, you have more answers inside you than every how-to event put together times 1 billion. Most of us ignore that to get all the information and research externally versus researching internally. You have the abilities inside of you, but often our addiction to the how-to stuff is in the way of all of you, right? So that's the first part of that, right? So I want to offer that I believe that. So these techniques might work. And here's another problem with the techniques thing, I believe, is the techniques were things that they used at a different time. So that might have worked then because it was cutting edge then, but then 4 years later, you know, it's a different time. So you're doing the same thing, right? So they're just showing you how to do what they did, which totally is their gift for that time. Which is kind of like saying, if you asked Michael Jackson, how do I write a song? He just says, write Billie Jean. He doesn't tell you how to find you. He just says, write literally this song that I wrote. That's what how-to seminars are like to me. They're saying, literally do what I did and stifle the world from your greatest gift, right? So he's just sitting there, well, to be a musician, you have to wear one glove and walk backwards and forwards at the same time, and do Smooth Criminal, you lean far. That's how you become a musician. No, that's how he did it. So that's what happens. And I'm here to say, screw how I did it. Let's find you. I'm just here to go, you are all of it. You got it. You got it. I swear to God, you got it. And I'll prove it to you. And you have it better than all how-tos put together. So it's been a challenge for me because I feel like they're lying to me, which though it is what I will be teaching in my webinar. So you'll just be teaching what they taught you, right? So it's just teaching that. And then you'll find people that'll learn what you taught, and then they'll teach that. It's just that. It's just, here's how to make money to teach this, and then teach this, right? So that's a really interesting thing. It's not authenticity to me. It's not authentically me at all. And I want to come from a place of love that introduces my potential clients to my funny, loving, and ridiculous, awesome self. Could you imagine, by the way, if Elvis took a how-to seminar before he became famous? Like, think about that. You know, one of the things they say at how-to seminars is you need to pass out comment cards and have them give you feedback. I want you to imagine Elvis at the end of a concert. They pass out 30,000 comment cards, and he's like, I want you to tell me what I should do differently. What should I do? What song should I do differently? No, why would we never do that? Because he knows what he wants to do. And we got to stop this world of just being a collection of everyone else's feedback and cutting off from you. Because you bring you. Yes, we need some feedback, like if there's a nail in the seat. Yes, you need feedback or whatever, but we want you. And sometimes you're just being what everyone said. And sometimes people's advice is like they're from a different place and a different time. And you're sitting here, what else should I be? What else should I do? Janet from Alabama who doesn't know me, what should I do? What do you think I should do? Right? So take that in, because you are you, and we need you. We need the universe through you. So do you have any suggestions on what you believe will get the email? Yes, without how to eat corn in 7 days. Here's my answer. End the need to get anything. We got to love this part of you that's trying to get love, right? There's a part of you that's trying to get because you think you're not enough. And if you think you're not enough, you're going to try to get from fear. So instead of saying, do you have any suggestions on how to get the email? Yes. Give a gift that's so amazing that it changes the world. People will just thank you for it and want to work with you. There was a big day in our business when last January, we created this thing called the limitation game that I'm sure many of you have. And it's a full video series. It's a 13-hour video series. And we really realized that many people, if they release something this good, they'd charge $10,000 for it. And we said, I had this thing, make it $20. Do you know how crazy that was? The whole team were like, we could feel it in our body, but it was so scary. Well, we've sold over 14,000 of them, right? And that excites me, because that means there's 14,000 people that have made more leaps, that have changed their life. That also, by the way, if you're worried about getting, they came to other things and want to work with me because they felt safe, because they actually are, because I'm working from the universe, right? So the limitation game was a big move for us because my heart said that. Well, of course, when people buy it, they give their email, but that's because they want to, because I created value, and you have that value in you. And get excited about your value, right? And there's so much other things like, yes, you need to figure out how to get a website or whatever. And my answer to that is delegate that. That kind of stuff, delegate it, because there's someone who's an artist at those other things. Even accounting. Like, I don't do the accounting for Evolving Out Loud, but there's a guy that does, who's in love with it. It's like an art to him to form the tax return the right way and flow. I don't know how, but that's true. Right? So fall in love with just doing what you do and delegate everything else. Because the only time I work is right now, and when I'm on stage or coaching someone or doing the meditation retreat or whatever, or making our sketches or whatever. Which, by the way, is another thing. Bring all of you in it. You just said you have all these funny things and everything like that, Joanne. That's awesome. Like, Evolving Out Loud is comedy and music and all of me, my insecurities, everything, right? Coaching, working with people, funny, all together. Every ounce of me is used in it. So what are you most excited for at the Dolby event? What is causing you fear or excitement or for expansion about this event, and about who you can feel yourself becoming? Well, one thing that's ironic about it is it's probably the last huge one we'll ever do. It's exciting to do it this way, but I really think that my calling after the Dolby is to do longer with a much smaller crowd. So the Dolby was a fun expansion and a highest calling at one point, but I got excited about doing 4 days with 200 people so that I could really get to work with almost everybody. And everyone would have a really good seat, right? And by the way, the Dolby is the only theater that no matter where you're sitting is pretty much a good seat, because they have the balconies stacked. If you've ever seen the Oscars, they're stacked. So you're actually way closer to me at the Dolby in every seat than you were at the Alex. And I'm on like Diamond Vision screens, so you'll feel very intimate. And it's Dolby Theatre, so they have Dolby surround sound in every seat. So you're going to have perfect audio. You're going to have perfect connection with me. So no matter where you're sitting, they're all good seats. So that's something I love about it. But I got excited about doing much longer because it gets so good. And I get the hiccups now, and I go, what would happen if we did more? So, and also that I can bring my daughter with me to it. She'll probably be just about walking. And I'd love to just walk her onto the stage and show her this, and show you guys her, and she's the most amazing thing. I almost started crying talking about her. She's amazing. So okay, I'll do one more. I grew up in an, I'll do this one. How do I stop self-sabotage? Maybe I'll do the narcissistic one. I hope you guys don't mind I'm going longer. I'm having fun with you guys. I hope you're enjoying it. Just a couple more minutes, but how to stop self-sabotage. Yes. So here's a quick answer on that. And that's kind of what this whole thing is going to stop self-sabotage, because self-sabotage isn't you. That's your small story. Notice all self-sabotage is in your head, and that's because you're thinking. And when you feel a calling in your body, your mind has to do everything it can to stay alive. So it comes in with a sabotage. So if you stay with what your body wants to do, the sabotage will act out and go crazy, and you still stay in your thing and it'll fall off. That's how you end it. And the other thing is love it through feeling it, letting your heart just be with it, feeling connected to it, being a space with it. Boom. That's another way. Another way is let go of the things in your life that are heavy, things that don't align with you. And I don't mean heavy like they're hard to do. I mean, weight is heavy and I love lifting weights, but I mean things that support the part of you that has self-sabotage. Like if you find yourself on Facebook all day, that's creating more self-sabotage for you, right? So because you're seeing everyone else's self-sabotage. So there's so many things that we do that have to fuel the self-sabotage. So look around your life and notice what is in your life that actually fuels the self-sabotage. Because if you just sat in nature for a week, like at the meditation retreat, if you sat and meditated for a week, it has to leave. Self-sabotage has to leave because it's not fueled. But we have things that fuel the negative parts of us, like the news or what someone said about you and finding a friend that gossips with you. You have to fuel it, right? So gossip, drama, Facebook too much, being online too much, being in the collective consciousness of just insanity, that fuels it. So what in your life are you doing that allows the self-sabotage part of you to be fueled? So everyone can write real quick what it is. What is something in your life that allows the self-sabotaging part of you to be fueled? Working in the ER, interesting. Burn 30 years of old journals, freedom. Wow, that's amazing. I feel my divorce was self-sabotage. Isolation, working on Facebook, all social media, fear. The stuff I was working through, I've kept it thinking I would need it for a book. Stuff I was working through, I've kept, yeah. So if it starts to feel heavy, there's a new you trying to come through. Even if you built years of it, you're going, it's time for me to let go of it. Awesome. You're making room for amazing stuff. Extra weight, watching too much TV, overthinking. I understand overthinking is your answer, but there's still things outside of you that fuel overthinking because you can't be alone. It's not a part of you. Overthinking is the habit, right? So you can't do it too much unless you keep fueling it. Because if you're just here being and not doing anything and not hopping on TV all day or whatever, it goes away. Alcohol, fear, and there's something that fuels fear, right? Gave away much of my stuff, going to makeshitup.com all the time. I don't know what that is. Avoiding my second meditation later in the day with busy nonsense. So the busy nonsense, avoiding writing my book, paying too much attention to online stuff. Awesome. So that might help a little bit. So there's ways to stop self-sabotage by not fueling self-sabotage because it's not natural. It's not natural to be self-sabotaging. That's not a part of you. It's just a habit and it's addictive, right? So awesome. Let's do one more. I grew up in a narcissistic environment. Most of us have in some ways. My life has been surrounded by negativity. Smiling and laughing has been frowned upon. I want to know how to Kalego, dream, and create a positive mindset. Well, we'll definitely be doing that at the Dolby. So the first thing is just noticing that. You know what's already advanced about you, Tanya, who asked that question, is that you're already looking at it. This is one thing we can't see. You can't see the label from inside the bottle. And one thing I want to share with you guys is you're already in an awareness that is understanding that this is not you. You're so advanced to not just say, I won't Kalego, I don't know how, and not, you're saying you had the story. I grew up in a narcissistic environment. You're already talking as an aware person that that's not you. My life's been surrounded by negativity. That's the past story. Smiling and laughing has been frowned upon. So that has nothing to do with what you're capable of, and the way you're phrasing that is very advanced. So I just want to, first of all, commend you on that. And that's something most people don't know. So I want to honor you guys and say, just so you know, you're way farther than most people. And you're so far advanced, and you probably feel more lost than most people seem, but that doesn't mean you're not farther. Sometimes being lost is the access point to your heart. And I want to honor you guys and say, just in the way you're saying this, you're already more advanced. And the fact you're doing this work and really wanting to connect and bring the real life into the world, you're so doing great work. And I need to tell you that you are sane. You are amazing, and you are powerful, and I'm thankful for you. So Tanya, I just want you to know you're already on your way there. You already see it. And my answer is just keep creating and keep meditating, Tanya. Meditate all the way until you're there, and notice how all those stories come up, and they'll leave when they want to. And when we do the EOL at the Dolby, trust me, you're going to do a ton of creative stuff, a ton of play, a ton of awesomeness, and we're going to have two of the greatest days of our life together. I promise you. And I can't wait to be with you. And I'm honored to be with you. And I want to thank you. And I want to thank you for being willing to do the work. And I will be here again in a week. And I'll be doing it from my favorite place in the world, Asilomar, which is where Wayne Dyer shot the movie The Shift. And it's also where we're going to be doing the meditation retreat. So I can't wait to connect with you guys. I love you guys. It's an honor to be with you. And we are going to have such a great month together. And thank you for everything. I'm so excited, you guys. So awesome to be with you, Queen and Kim and Joan and Michelle and Amy and Christine and Chrissy and Carolyn and Justine and Lisa.